Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to Third Wave Trades. For today's video, we're going to be going over Tesla, ticker symbol TSLA. Now, I kind of gave you guys a preview of it in one of my last videos when we were discussing GameStop and Tesla and the crazy rally that it's been on recently. You can see this is a weekly chart, and this was the move that we made last week, basically running up from $200 to $250, right? So a $50 week. Not too bad. So I kind of gave you guys a preview of it, so I want to go over that again, right? This recent rally, but I also want to kind of give it to you guys in the context of the overall picture of Tesla, right? So where it stands in the larger macro wave count, and what are some different scenarios playing out. So essentially, I'm extremely bullish on it right now. All the different scenarios. Short to midterm are extremely bullish, and we'll get into those different scenarios. But first, if you guys could just do me this huge favor and please hit the like button if you guys find the content useful and if you guys are enjoying it. If you're new here and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing so you guys can get information on a bunch of different trading opportunities and get analysis on your favorite stocks. And then also, guys, just a quick disclaimer: I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research and/or consult with a financial advisor before making any trading or investment decisions. Alright, so with all that being said out of the way, let's get into it. Now, the first thing that I want you guys to take note of is the overall wave count that I have over here, right? So essentially, the only thing that really matters for us is that this move in October of 2021, November 2021, was our completed first wave, right, on this macro count. And since then, we've corrected at the beginning of 2023. It looks like the correction, or it looked like at the time the correction was over, and that's how I interpreted it. If you guys go back and see some of my videos from last year, that's exactly how I interpreted it, that was the end of our second wave. You guys can see from a Fibonacci standpoint, we retraced 78.6% rather, and that's a perfect Fibonacci retracement for a second wave, right? The exact count doesn't really matter, but I basically interpreted it as a three-wave move, right? And then we were starting our third wave higher, right? So we had our first wave, our second wave down here at roughly $100, and then we got this 1, 2. I was looking for a third wave rally. We ended short, and then essentially we ended at 123% extension of this first move right here, right? 123.6% move, which is usually a very it's usually the perfect level for a 1-2-1-2 scenario, right? So essentially saying that we had this 1, this 2, instead of going straight into our third wave, we get another 1, and then the expectation was another 2, and then the third wave rally would start. Clearly that's not what happened, right? So kind of like leaves you to wonder what is really going on, because as you can see, since that point we've had this Tesla's had it pretty rough, right? So we hit 300, and from that point we've basically been in this corrective move, right? And the scenarios now, there are two scenarios that I'm essentially looking at. So the first is that this correction again is complete over here, right? The second wave finished at the $100 level, and this move that we're having up is not your normal impulsive wave, but instead is a leading diagonal, right? And that would basically be made of 3 waves up for your first wave, 3 waves down for your second wave, 3 waves up for your third, 3 waves down for your fourth, and then 3 waves up for your fifth, right? Not your traditional impulsive wave, but very often found in the first wave of an impulsive wave, right? So then this is your first, this is your second, and this is your 1 of 3, all right? So your first wave of your 3, your 3.1. And then from there, you would get a second wave in your third, and then you would get your third of your third, which would be the massive rally. All right, so that's the bullish scenario, right? Now, that is still very much on the table, still a strong possibility. But there's also the possibility that this second wave did not finish yet, and instead this move down to $100 was only the A wave of a flat correction, right? So in other words, this is still a 3-wave move for A, and we are now essentially in our B wave, which is made up of 1, 2, and 3 as well. And then from there, we would get a 5-wave rally down for our C wave. And that would essentially form a flat. This would be a much larger correction in terms of time, as flats usually do take a lot more time than a zigzag correction. Now, if that is the case, right, we're dealing with a flat correction that is still ongoing. It doesn't really affect the move as of right now, because whether this is a traditional flat, right, so you have 3, 3, and then 5 back down to roughly $100, or you have an expanded flat, you have 3, 3 breaking all-time highs, and then coming back in 5 lower than the $100, or if you have a running flat, right, so that would be 3, 3 breaking all-time highs again, and then finishing just short, all right, ending the correction above the $100. All 3 of these scenarios still see us getting close to all-time highs, or actually breaking all-time highs, right? Running flats and expanded flats, the B wave actually breaks the origin of the A wave. So essentially, you know, again, for short to mid-term, this is, you know, it's a bullish rally is going to follow for Tesla right now, right? No matter how you look at it. Whether this correction is still going on, we have a B wave that should get close to or break all-time highs, or the correction, we were correct in saying that the correction ended here, and we are essentially just getting a leading diagonal, right? So either way, you know, I see us for the short to mid-term just pushing higher, and then any dips would basically be buying opportunities for the time being until we get close to this range, this all-time high, roughly around $400. You know, then we might consider, okay, it's time to go short again. But until then, I think, you know, as we can see from this recent rally, there's no reason to be bearish, and there's no reason to expect a crash for Tesla or anything like that, right? This recent rally is a sign of strength and not a sign of weakness. Again, in the overall picture, yes, if this is a B wave, then it's basically a pump fake, it's a head fake, it's gonna break all-time highs only to just come crashing back down. But you know, we could cross that bridge once we get there. For now, looking to get back to those all-time highs. All right, so that's the overall picture for Tesla, the bigger picture for Tesla. And as you guys can see here, again, on a weekly chart, we broke above our 30-week moving average, and we did so with strong volume, right? So strong volume, and you know, given the fact that last week was a shortened week, we were off for July 4th. That's really strong volume with a strong move, right, above our 30-week moving average. And if we check our Mansfield Relative Strength Index, Also, we got a break above our zero line in the Mansfield Relative Strength Index. So those are all signs that we are now in a stage 2, according to Stan Weinstein's stage analysis, and that is basically the signal for an uptrend move that is coming, right? So in the wave count and stage analysis, all signaling a strong uptrend move, right? And obviously price action is king, so you can just see from the price itself, this is an extremely strong bullish move on the weekly chart. All right, so I can't stress that enough, that basically, in my opinion, again, this is the beginning of a massive rally that could see us going back to all-time highs, right? And again, once we get there, then we can determine whether or not we're going to come crashing back down, or we are going to push higher. So that kind of remains to be seen. So for now, overall picture is bullish. And now let's zoom in to this recent rally to kind of figure out where we stand kind of on a more micro level. Okay, so here we are then on the 4-hour chart, and essentially what I'm looking at then now is this move back in January of 2023 being the A wave, right, of our B wave, right? So this is our A, this move was our B, and now we are starting our C wave move, which should see us go all the way to all-time highs. And within that C wave move should be made up of 5 waves, right? So we can see that we have over here, we had this strong bounce at roughly $140. So that would basically be our first wave. This was our second, and now we are in the middle of our third. We should get a pullback, and then for a fourth, and then we'll get a fifth, right? So what does that look like? Essentially, that should look something like this, right? I mean, this is still kind of ongoing right now. All right, so we have our first wave over here. We had our second wave, and now we are in the middle of our third wave. This is kind of like the count that I have for it right now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me go slightly on the smaller time frame. All right, so this is 2-hour chart. You can kind of see it better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for our first. A, B, C for WX. WXY over here, right? Another A, B, C. And then you have your 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Just a series of 1, 2s, and we are basically in the heart of this third wave rally, right? So we should still see another push higher here for this third, another fourth and fifth, right? A couple more times we should basically get that ping-ponging of 3s and 4s. So you can see with the increased volume, we are definitely going higher. Any pullbacks again would basically just be buying opportunities as we are in this uptrend. Now, another way that I was viewing this, and I showed you guys this, was basically via the Wyckoff reaccumulation schematic, right? This is something similar that's happening right now with GameStop. In that case, it's an accumulation channel. This is a reaccumulation channel, basically meaning you have an uptrend move, you reaccumulate, and then you begin another uptrend move once you break out. So we had our buying climax up here, and then we had an automatic reaction, and this was our phase A, right? Our change of character. Secondary test kind of formed a creek over here, and we got a little spring, not that deep of a spring, and then you can see how we reacted, pushing with our jump across the creek move, consolidated at the top of phase D, and then we got the breakout in phase E. All right, I have an image of that just to share with you guys so you guys can see it. All right, so if you guys compare it to this image over here on the right, you guys can see it basically played out like, you know, a pretty textbook reaccumulation pattern, right? Slight variances, but the overall idea is pretty much the same. You're buying climax up here, your accumulation, and the different phases from the change of character to the series of tests, the creek, the jump across the creek, right? Just like here, consolidation at the top of phase D, and then the uptrend move, right? So that's exactly what we got with Tesla right now. And again, the reason why I bring this up is because this same pattern that you see playing out here on this smaller time frame, this is 4-hour time frame, I want to show that it's actually also playing out on the larger degree time frame, right? So before we move on, then again, I just want to go over that basically now whenever we get into these uptrend moves, that's kind of where Elliott wave comes into play, because that's how you can kind of keep track of how high this uptrend is going to move before we can expect either some sort of pullback, some sort of accumulation or reaccumulation, or distribution at that point, right? So as of right now, we're basically in this series of 3s and 4s that I think is playing out. So again, any dips are buying opportunities in my opinion, because we are still going a lot higher in this rally, right? And then once we do get this third wave move, once we get this third wave move and this completes, right, through this series of 3-4s, that would basically be our larger degree third wave after this second, and then we would look for some sort of accumulation or reaccumulation again, right, for our correction, get our fourth wave, and then another 5-wave move up, not as impulsive as the third wave move, but basically the fifth wave that, like I said, should see us getting back to all-time highs, right? So that would basically be the overall picture of what I believe is playing out in the short to medium term. All right, and then after that, we would have to basically see whether or not we would get that C wave down, like I said, in the larger picture, or just a smaller correction before we move a lot higher. All right, so that's basically where Tesla stands. Kind of gave you guys the overall picture and what I think is playing out on the micro or more near smaller time frames, right? In all aspects, still just, in my opinion, it has not topped out yet, and it's not going to top out. I think we're going to go back to that $400 level. And yeah, so now the other thing that I want to show you guys is, like I mentioned, that reaccumulation that just played out over here. I want to show you guys how that's also playing out on the larger time frame as well, right? Because we know price action is fractal in nature. What you see happening in one time frame is usually happening in a larger or a smaller time frame as well. So let's go ahead and go back to the weekly time frame. Okay, so here we are back on the weekly, and I want to show you guys this larger accumulation now, reaccumulation. So again, what we just saw playing out on that smaller time frame down here, which led to this rally in the last 2 weeks, right? So we reaccumulated down here, we broke out, and we got the large move up here, which is this, all right? Now, on the larger time frame, you can see we are doing the exact same thing, right? This was the top of our first wave, or the top of our uptrend move, and we came back down, and we are essentially reaccumulating right here. You had your buying climax, you had your automatic rally, secondary test. This is somewhat of a little creek over here, right? And the amount of times, guys, again, that this happens, it doesn't have to be like perfect like this, right? So you have one touch here, another touch here. This all just depends on each individual stock and how much, you know, supply and demand there really is. But essentially, what's happening here is it's a series of tests between highs and lows, between buyers and sellers. to see where the stock stands. So we don't have to have the exact touch points, but the idea is we had an automatic reaction right here. We had a secondary test, and now we formed this creek, and we kind of got the jump across the creek. Now I can definitely see us getting to the top of this channel at this point. How we react over here, right around that $300 to $320 range, will let us know if we're going to come back down for another test at the bottom of this channel. We could always get a lower spring move, like you don't know, but in my opinion, given how strong this move is, the fact that we're above our 30-week moving average, based off of the wave counts and stuff like that, I think that this was the only series of tests that we needed. And this move right here is essentially very similar to here. This denotes buyers are in control, right? The fact that we didn't get back to the bottom of this channel, a strong push up with volume, right? And so I see us getting to the top of this, very likely breaking out of this channel, coming back testing it, and then beginning the rally up, right? Now again, this rally up, it could be a head fake, right, in the wave count. It could be that B wave, and we get some up here somewhere, and then we come back down. Or it could just be the beginning of a rally, that's going a lot higher. This could be a 5-wave move, and this could be our second, and this could be another 5-wave move. I don't want to make it too confusing, but the idea is that once we get to the top of this channel, we should get this same sort of movement that we got on the smaller time frame. Get this rally over here, get to or break all-time highs, and then we'll see from there. We can't jump too far ahead, but essentially right now, guys, the overall picture is extremely bullish. Recent price action, increase in volume, the wave count, what I see playing out in the different fractals of the stock price action, everything looks extremely bullish in my opinion. So hopefully I kind of made my thesis on that clear, and the argument, I hope I made it clear. Sometimes there's just so much information that it's hard for me to kind of articulate it all in a video, but hopefully like the overall picture makes sense on why I'm extremely bullish about Tesla, and I can see us easily going to $400. All right, so it's not hype, it's not clickbait. When you guys see the thumbnail and it says $400 Tesla, I really do see the stock getting there, and I think I've kind of like laid out my arguments for that from the technicals standpoint. So that's really it. That's all I got for today with Tesla. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, please leave it down below. If you guys found that useful in any way, you guys enjoyed the content, please do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps with the algorithm and all that. And if you guys are new here, please subscribe to the channel. I'll be making more videos just like this on a bunch of different stocks, where I think there will be great trading opportunities for you guys. So that's all I got, guys. I'll be back with more. Peace.